Hi, I'm Moriah and I am representing Carson County today. 75 years of conservation equals 75 years of improvements. Did you know that 1 ton of topsoil is equal to the thickness of 1 dime on 1 acre of land? In South Dakota, scientists estimate that it takes 500 years to form 1 inch of topsoil. Because of this, conservation was born 75 years ago to aid farmers in land preservation by teaching them a variety of farming techniques. Let's take a trip back to the early 1930s, also known as the Dirty 30s. This is when the first conservation practices came into play. Some of those practices include contour farming, strip farming, and crosswind farming, just to name a few. Contour farming is the tilling, planting, and normal operation of all practices, following the contour of the field slope. Contour farming is most effective on slopes with a 2% to 10% grade. Strip farming is when you take a field and divide it into strips of alternating crops. This could also include fallow strips in between the crop strips. The practice of sowing fallow was to dig up the stubble field from prior year's harvest and allow it to rest through the year. This practice conserves moisture for a healthier soil the following year. Crosswind practices are used on cropland to reduce the potential for erosion from wind. Wind ridges are formed by tillage or planting crops aligned across the direction of prevailing wind. This practice is most effective on sandy loams and soils with a high clay and silt content. Soils with a high content of sand are not adapted to this practice. Next, we'll jump ahead to the 1950s. Another common practice to protect the soil was to use a living fence line. This practice consists of tree lines in between the fields to prevent excessive erosion. Some of these roads are still in existence. The 80s and 90s found minimum tillage to be a popular practice. Minimum tillage consists of tilling the soil less frequently to allow weeds to grow so that the soil will be covered to go into the winter. This cover would protect the soil from winter winds. Next, we'll jump ahead to the 21st century, and yet more improvement to land conservation. No-till farming is now the chosen practice for planting crops. This practice consists of no longer digging the top layer of soil, but instead, the seed is planted right into the ground. This practice also leaves a vegetation cover on the soil, rather than leaving it bare as in the tradition of fallow. This vegetation protects the soil from high wind and water erosion. Research then teaches farmers how to rotate their crops annually and effectively by not planting the same crop in the same field year after year. This allows the land to rest after a certain crop by planting a less demanding crop the following year. This also helps with the pattern of diseases, to break up the pattern of diseases brought by continual planting of the same crop year after year. Crop rotation is a practice of changing to a different crop each year on a rotation schedule. Shorter red plants followed by longer red plants breaks up the compaction of deeper soil. This improves water absorption, leading to decreased erosion. This practice also leaves a ground cover that aids in food and shelter for the wildlife. In summary, conservation research over the years has aided farmers and ranchers in land preservation by teaching them a variety of farming techniques that not only brought increased health and value to the soil, but also increased crop yields and quality. What I see in the future of conservation is the continued research and improved developments to protect the soils and natural surroundings for the benefit of the farmer, livestock, wildlife, and Earth itself. Thank you.